Howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another tutorial episode of War in the East 2. The topic of this tutorial will be AOGs, the short name for Air Operational Groups. I've mentioned that maybe in the previous tutorial, but very briefly, what are AOGs? Essentially, AOGs are like the HQ units that will manage the air groups or air group units. And while the air group units are the ones performing the tactical missions, the AOGs are the ones organizing and let's say, putting order in the chain of command for the air group units. AOGs are also the ones that you see on the map, and they are normally already visible at the very beginning of every scenario, because every scenario starts in the air planning phase, and during the air planning phase you will see I would say the disposition of your AOGs. While in the ground movement phase they are not enabled. If you want to enable them during the ground movement phase, you can either press A or click on this button here, show air operational groups. The information that you can get from the AOGs is different from the zoom level. At the maximum out zoom level, you can barely see the position of the I would say army level AOG and the army corps level AOG. If you zoom in, let's say zoom level 4, if you can count 5 from the maximum out zoom, you can already see what I would call the AOG of the divisional level. We have seen in the previous tutorial the meaning of the Zerstörergeschwader, the Stuka-Geschwader, and the Jagdgeschwader. And if you keep zooming in, you will see more information appearing at the level of the Luftflotte slash air command slash air armies. And if you zoom into the maximum, you will see informations about the core level AOGs, and then down to the individual AOGs of the units. Just by looking at these squares, you can already find some information. First of all, if you look at the border, at the outer border, you can see whether everything below the chain of command is fine, which is indicated by the green color. I know the Soviets do have one that fits my example. Yeah, this one here. If the border is red and there is like this red bar over here, it means that everything downstream the chain of command is depleted. When you select an AOG, the border will turn yellow, and we can try with one of the Soviets actually. And yeah, so if the AOG, the selected AOG, is in resting mode, the outer border will look like this white slash light gray color, and it will have this light gray bar on the left hand side. Now, when you select an AOG, and I will just mostly use the Luftflotte 1 as an example, the first thing that you see is that you have this square that has the same color of the Luftflotte, and this square contains all of the air bases harboring slash hosting the planes of the different, in this case, Jagdgeschwader or the Kolluft or the Kampfgeschwader. If you zoom in slightly more, you will see some more details about air bases, but we will talk about these in the tutorial dedicated specifically for the air bases. We can see some symbols here. I will talk mostly about these three. These represent the number of fighters, the number of bombers, and the number of utility aircrafts. Utility aircrafts are recon, transport, naval bombers, and anything that is not fighter and bombers. These symbols, we will see them when we will talk about the AI assisted management of the air war. While this green bar and this number, the green bar basically gives you a visual indication of how many planes are ready within the chain of command of the Luftflotte 1, and the percentage tells you the number. So in this case, the Luftflotte 1 has 72% of its planes ready, and you can find these let's say these numbers here in the basic unit info box. Small spoiler alert: the AOG basic unit info box contains all the information that you need to guide the AI in the if you want to play with the AI assisted air mode on, and I will talk about it when I will in the tutorial dedicated to the automatic management of the air war. Below the basic unit info box, you have the most detailed information about your AOGs that are directly attached to the Luftflotte 1, like in this case the Fliegerführer Ostsee or the Kolluft North, and then you have the, say, core level AOGs, in this case the first Flieger Corps, and then below the first Flieger Corps you have the AOGs belonging to the first Flieger Corps. I would say below each individual AOGs, you have the airfields, and we will see this more in the next tutorial. And you also have the individual air group units. Now, if you click on the name of the Luftflotte 1, you get to the advanced unit info box, and again is divided. We can divide it into, let's say, 4 parts. This section here is basically contains nearly all of the information that you find in the basic unit info box, essentially. The top bar could be of interest for you guys. It gives you some ideas of which aircrafts are, let's say, under the lead of Luftflotte 1. First of all, you see here mixed. Mixed indicates that under Luftflotte 1 there are different types of aircrafts, and you can see them depicted here. You have fighter bombers, you have recon, you have transports, and I'm pretty sure you also have, if we pick the KG-77, yeah, you have level bombers, and let's see if we have the KG-1, I think, level bombers. I wanted to see if we also have the tactical bombers, but maybe you don't. Yeah, just level bombers. But okay, so you got the idea. In the left-hand side square, we have again the HQ, I would call it, of the Luftflotte 1. Even though, since we're talking about HQs, I must say there are ground-based HQs for let's say for the 3 Luftflotten. Luftflotte 1 is up here, Luftflotte 2 is down here, and Luftflotte 3. Luftflotte 4 is here, and the same is true for the Soviets. I know they do have the Baltic Air Command for this one. What are those HQs needed for? Well, first of all, they contain the leader, so you should know already the meaning of all of these, and the air stats is the one that defines basically how many planes can actually participate in each air mission. And the presence of the ground-based HQ for, let's say, for each army level AOGs increases the efficiency of the air mission within a 90 hexes radius. So it's good to have the HQ, let's say, around the entire Luftflotte 1. Air HQ is the Luftflotte 1. This is quite intuitive. Air groups are the ones listed here, so it has 40, and air bases is the number of bases that are currently occupied by all the air groups of Luftwaffe 1. The max AC indicates the maximum number of aircrafts that this Luftflotte can hold. The maximum number of aircraft is actually dictated, let's say, yeah, so exactly. I will go more into details about this in the next tutorial, but you see that this group, that in German is called Gruppe, can have up to 40 aircrafts, and 33 are ready. Now, the max AC ignores the damaged and the reserve aircrafts and only takes into account the ready. So it means that overall, this air group could have 7 more planes, because seven are damaged, and in the Luftflotte one, this is not taken into account. Command points is the same, has the same function of the ground HQ command points. Pilots is quite explanatory. Experience and morale is the average of shows the average experience and average morale of all the units belonging to Luftwaffe 1. And then you see here the number of ready aircrafts, which is also listed here, 511, and the number of damage. And then if you make the sum, you get the devil's number, basically. In this category, you see the air groups, even though here you also see the AOGs, because these are the AOGs, and these ready and taut means the amount of ready planes and the total number of planes that these AOGs have. If you click on these arrows, you can get like a similar scenario to what you see here, to the one that you see here, but you get a lot more of many more information, let's say. Now, in this table, the amount of information is, I would say, overwhelming for people who don't know what all of these numbers mean, but I will guide you through all of these. In the airbase line, this percentage indicates the percentage of occupancy of the airbase, which means that 68% of the airbase is now occupied. In this case of Schippenbeil, the base is actually overcrowded because you have 136% of occupancy. While, so it also can be understood by the symbol. This is the number of engines per airbase. While this number here indicates the amount of air support that the base has versus the amount of air support that the base needs. Now, air support is, let's say, is the same. Where is it? Yeah, air support is the same support, let's say, that ground units need. That is this one here. Is the same support that ground HQ needs. For air bases, is called essentially is called air support, and is listed here. Then you have the air groups with the number of ready planes and the number of total planes. You have the type of plane, and then you have the category of plane. In this case, PA means patrol aircraft, LB level bomber, REC recon, TR means transport. And if you go down, you cannot. Okay, I think you have to select the first Fliegerkorps. Pilots, it lists you all the pilots that are assigned to each air group, and on planes you see exactly the very same thing. Planes, and you see also which plane is damaged and is of course under repair, so it cannot be used for the air missions. If you select the I would say core level AOG, you see basically the very same thing. And if you go down to the divisional level AOG, you can see actually the air group units. Also, one thing that I did not mention at the very beginning is that, of course, if you select just the, let's say, the AOG of the Jagdgeschwader 54, you will see a much smaller rectangle and all of the air bases in which only the the air groups of the Jagdgeschwader 54 are actually located. And we will talk separately about moving from the map and to the reserves and vice versa, the AOGs. And yeah, I think that this is already the, let's say, the conclusion of this very first tutorial on AOGs. Well, as always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. In the next tutorial, we will dive deeper into the air group units. Until then, folks, thank you very much for watching, and well, if you enjoy this tutorial series, well, stay tuned until the next one.